Welcome back. One of the great days of racing at Caulfield, and I don't say that lightly, with Lee Friedman and David Hayes dominating and some magnificent racing, particularly the Futurity Stakes. Keith Hillier, our special guest, is David Hayes, who won his second Blue Diamond yesterday.
Yes, and the fifth for Lindsay Park too, the second for David. His dad Colin won 3. And you better throw Rod Griffiths in, as it was his day too, Bruce.
Rod Griffiths, so how could I forget Rod? He sat here and told us June couldn't win the Melbourne Cup. But seriously, no, he's riding brilliantly. In fact, he's ridden 5 Group 1 winners this season, Rod Griffiths, one more than Damien Oliver. And Keith, do you know there have been 31 Group 1 races this year, and between them, Lee Friedman and David Hayes have won 16, 8 each.
David, why did you choose Rod Griffiths to ride Principality? Incidentally, it's the first maiden to win the Blue Diamond.
Yes, yeah, it was a big thrill. Rodney rode him down the straight, and he decided to stay with the horse, and I'm glad he did, because he rode an inspired race. It was truly a great ride.
And the old blinker trick, first time too,
yes,
David?
Yes, the blinker trick was fantastic. We tried to save them for the big events, and it came off, which was great.
What about a relationship between a trainer and a jockey? Now, he rode Hunter Court yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah.
And didn't have much luck on a shorty. I mean, do you give a bloke a blast, or do you...
Well, I was very disappointed with the ride, but when Rodney was riding Blevick and Principality later in the day, I thought I'd save it to after the last.
Good idea.
Did you forget to wrap him on the knuckles then, in forgiveness?
He was back in the good books after the
diamond.
diamond.
Yeah, you couldn't be that tough.
I was going to say, Keith, Dad never forgot to wrap them on the knuckles, did he? CS.
No, he's partial to a blow-up.
Look, I've been talking to Gerard Healy a moment ago. He told me that he interviewed you yesterday on 3AW, and he called David the coach of Principality. He's got a bit to learn, hasn't he?
Well, as a racing commentator, he's a great footballer.
He also said he wanted to back Scalacci because it was the only horse he'd heard of in the Futurity Stakes, Dune and Mahogany. Gee, he's got a very poor education, hasn't he?
It's amazing. We said only a couple of weeks ago, Bruce, that every morning we come on this program and talk about the star of the moment, and week after week it's a different one, so it was nice to see the old grey Scalacci regurgitate himself to top status yesterday.
He's a wonderful old horse. Let's go to the Blue Diamond. It was a race with plenty of pace on and suited horses that would run on, and we'll talk about Principality's future after this.
Late on, and they're away and racing. Tuscany Flyer began okay. Shaded Padre away very smartly. Zedrich began okay down towards the inside as they settle down. And from the outside now, Tuscany Flyer shows his usual early dash. Tennessee Magic came across with him to settle second. Zedrich getting up on the inside with Frosty the Snowman. 2 lengths further back in the field, then Padre a couple to Homestead. Shaded the outside. Then El Kahira's Son. 2 lengths further back in the field is Donor. Flying Spur second last. And Principality last. They're burning along towards the 600. Tuscany Flyer the outside. Zedrich got up along the inside, about a neck away second. 2 lengths back as Tennessee Magic. 1 to Padre, then El Kahira's Son. Frosty the Snowman drops out. Homestead the rail from Shaded. Further back, Flying Spur is a long way back again, hanging around the home turn. And then Principality, Donor, Tuscany Flyer led 2 lengths into the straight. Zedrich had to check across his heels. Comes out after him now. Tennessee Magic running a good race. And then Padre, and further back Principality, Flying Spur, Tuscany Flyer in front. Zedrich coming at him, Tuscany Flyer from Zedrich. Here's Principality. Principality swamping Tuscany Flyer, and Principality drives away. Principality bolts in. Second went to Flying Spur. I think Tuscany Flyer just held third in a fun.
You just said same time as the open sprint. Gee, he was the more you look at it, the more impressive he looked, Principality.
Yes, it was a soft win, really. You know, I think it was a Group 1 race, but he didn't really need to hit him, to be honest.
The race is no longer a race for speedsters, David, is it? It's a race for 1,400-metre horses.
Yes, you know, it's a real swoopers race, really, and the slipper's very much in that way as well.
What about Lee Friedman, who's your great mate and great rival? I mean, he's got this enormous opinion of Flying Spur, and I just wonder how good the horse is at this stage. Sure, plenty of potential, but he headed Principality at one stage in the straight, I felt.
Yes, he did. Principality probably had the better run, but Flying Spur does a lot wrong. It's whether he just keeps doing a lot wrong for a lot longer. A lot of these horses that tend to do that, I find they just keep making mistakes. He might be better when he gets to a mile.
I feel he's overrating the horse at the moment. That's a personal opinion anyway.
I think Principality showed yesterday he's the best in this state, but the Golden Slippers, where all the form lines collide, what do you think of the Sydney 2-year-olds? Do you think they're better than ours?
Oh, they've got their usual boom on them. But,
the usual boom.
I would say at the moment, I'd put ours ahead of theirs.
Ahead of Strategic and Zephyr?
Well, he's very good, but he hasn't met a really good horse yet.
Zephyr beat Gold Ace in the Magic Millions.
Yes, he'd be the horse that I'd lean to at the moment. He's very impressive in Queensland.
Well, the Black Opal's on today, but I think the Black Opal's a bit down this year. It's a good field. Lester Pickett's riding the favourite, but I don't think we'll see the Golden Slipper winner there. And I think there's a big race on Thursday where Strategic might run.
We're not going to see much of form of any significance from Sydney today, Bruce. A heavy track and 29 scratchings for the meeting at Warwick Farm.
Gee, Lee won't like me for saying he may be overrating Flying Spirit at this stage, but you can't overrate Scalacci, can you? You were unlucky, I guess, with Jern. How did you read the futurity yesterday?
I thought that Jern was the unlucky runner, but Scalacci deserved his win at the same time. And the disappointment had to be Mahogany. He was up there, the race was made for him. I don't know whether it's a second-up syndrome. I don't know whether Lee Freedman has a problem pushing him to perform well second up or holding him back to save him for later. But whatever it is, the twain hasn't met so far. And the race was won by Scalacci. The public loved it. Perhaps it should have been won by Jern, David.
I thought Jern should have won. Scalacci, a great effort. I honestly, I saw him on Friday, and he's a war horse. He was limping around on Friday, and he flew on Saturday. He's just a great horse and great for racing. But I was pretty sad because I honestly believe Jern should have won the race.
The remarkable thing about Jern is that he did win the Melbourne Cup. He's been to Japan. He's come back. He's been able to win the Ore. And
well, had he done yesterday what we perhaps agreed that he should have done, it would have been his second win at 1,400 metres. No Melbourne Cup winner has ever done that, have they? No,
that's what I was sad about, because I really believe that race was probably one of the grand finals of the sprints in Australia this year, and to have a Melbourne Cup winner do that, it just would have been fabulous.
This is a silly question in a way, but with this horse, it seems the sky's the limit. If you kept him nice, could he win a race like the Newmarket Handicap in his present form? Had he been trained for the Newmarket?
I'd say he's an ideal Newmarket horse, but he would have got a lot of weight, and it is a handicap. But we said before the list or the Ore that had Hariba wasn't around and our horse had a setback, we would have been confident backing him in that race when he won that race so brilliantly.
Jeez, let's go to the futurity. What a magnificent race it was. Scalacci the Grey.
Light on now. Away they go. Jern, as usual, a little slow to move. Back there in the early part. Mahogany, one of the first to bounce out. Snap goes with him with Scalacci on the outside. And as they climb up the hill, Snap holding onto the inside. Scalacci runs to the lead, though. And Scalacci took over the role as pacemaker. About a length and a half. Mahogany second. Snap the rail third. Never undercharged, moving up fourth. They're followed by Spanish Mix and then Soho Squares. Jern back towards the tail end with Pride of Rancho 3 deep on his outside. At to the railway side they go, and Scalacci 3/4 in front of Mahogany, never undercharged third the outside, and Snap with a lovely trail fourth the fence. There followed Spanish Mix, Pride of Rancho. Back behind them Soho Squares, Jern last of all, spotting the leader about 6 lengths. Running to the 600, it's Scalacci bowling along in front. Mahogany though edging a little closer, he's within 3/4 of his stablemate, never undercharged, trap 3 wide, 1 Snap. Then came Spanish Mix, Pride of Rancho feeling the pressure from Soho Squares. Jern last of all got a little check off the heels of one in front there. Up to the turn, Mahogany up level now with Scalacci around the turn, never undercharged behind them. Then Spanish Mix and Snap and Jern spotting Mahogany 5. At the top of the straight now, Dittman goes for Mahogany. Scalacci sticks on very gamely. It's Mahogany about a neck in front. Scalacci's fighting back. Scalacci again with his head in front of Mahogany. Wider out, then Spanish Mix and Jern. It's Scalacci in front of Mahogany. Jern motoring, but Scalacci's won it again. Scalacci's won it. I think Jern got second from Mahogany in a photo.
One of those hard to know where to look, Keith, in the last 100 metres. Snap running out of room. Gee, Jern flew, and Wayne took a while to give him a crack around the backside.
Yeah, it was a slow run race early, and that sort of was difficult. I'm not buying into that. I'm not going to start criticising Wayne. You say it, don't get me to say it.
I think the horse at the furlong couldn't win, but boy, when he gave him about 3, he took off. Didn't you notice that, Keith?
Oh, of course I noticed it. He flew late, yes.
He did.
Straight into the Australian Cup now, which is his preferred distance, I suppose.
Yes, he's been set for the Australian Cup, and if he holds his form, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Gee, I wish Max was with me today.
Yeah, can't put 2 together. He's put about 18.
Exactly. The key to the Australian Cup could be Solve It. Let's go and have a look at the St George, where Durbridge rolls along in front and beats Paris Lane. Solve It will be the... Is he coming, Keith?
Definitely starting in the Australian Cup.
David's just smiling. Absolutely.
Well, this is Durbridge in front, Bruce. He goes along at a merry pace. He takes off about the 600 metres. He runs his last 3, probably breaks 35. Therefore, it is a mathematical mathematical impossibility for any horse to pass him. But in the Australian Cup, as you pointed out, it is going to be grossly different because Solbert also is a front runner. We saw him lead all the way in the Cox Plate last year, and he ran second in that race last year. So Durbridge will not get the cushy run that he's getting in this. He's a weight for age star, the old champ Durbridge, Dave, isn't he?
He's the most consistent, especially in the autumn.
He's better in the autumn, isn't he?
I can remember, really. He's fabulous.
That's Paris Lane getting home into second position, and I reckon from that run you can almost say that Paris Lane's ready.
Well, it makes the Australian Cup very special, doesn't it? When you've got the Cox Plate champ, Solbert, Durbridge, who's won 7 races at 2,000 metres, is a very good record.
Yes.
Paris Lane and Jern.
And the McKinnon Stakes winner of a couple of seasons ago, the Phantom, he's coming, and Star Dancer from New Zealand, they're all coming.
Well, in a way, I guess it's the unofficial weight for age championship of Australia, isn't it?
I think so. You know, it might well decide the horse of the year, I think.
What about Blevik? Would he run in that?
No, he'll run in the Alistair Clark a week later. I was happy with his run yesterday, coming back from a setback, and back in 3-year-old company, he'll be very hard to beat.
Now, you're the coach of St Covert today. He's running in the Autumn Classic. Do you give that horse obviously you give him a good chance. It's a very good field, a bit like the Australian Guineas without Blevik, isn't it?
Yes, I think he's a great chance. There won't be quite the pressure on in the race. Well, I hope there's not. And St Covert is a very fierce competitor. He's only ever not weighed in once in his life in 16 starts, and he's had plenty of racing.
David, we mentioned in glowing terms the performance of Lindsay Park, 17 times Premier Trainer in this state, but it's going to end this year, isn't it? Lee Friedman has 72 city winners. You're going to Hong Kong in June. You've got to surrender your ticket here. Is that a personal blow for that reign to end?
You haven't conceded, have you?
Oh, it's not over to the fat lady. Seems really Keith, but you know, I'll give up probably about April if he's 7 in front. But
okay.
At the moment, I think it's going to be still quite an even tussle. There's a lot of time left in the season, but I'll be disappointed to lose it. But it might be a bit of fun when I come back to try and win it back.
Right.
Well, look, Lee might have Mahogany and Scalacci primed up for races in July in Melbourne just to make sure that he gets home. Just one quickie before you go. Hariba will probably run in the Newmarket. We hope he does.
Definitely. He worked at the beach this morning and he's fine. You've
got a chance of beating him, I think. Cut up rough.
I've got a horse on the up, and he's going very well. He's got his share of weight, but Hariba, if he runs to his best, you need a rocket ship to beat him.
Oh, he is pretty good. Keith, catch you. I know you're off to 3 years out for your radio commitments. Good luck today, David, and we'll catch you before you go to Hong Kong.
Get on your list.
Keith Hillier and David Hayes. A break. We're going to New Zealand after this with a mate of Keith's, Neil Donnelly, to talk about the Inter-Dominion.